What's up, fight fans? Welcome to the Comments from the Peanut Gallery podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Kurtz. We have a very special guest today joining us via the MyFitFoods hotline. That is myfitfoods.com. Go to www.myfitfoods.com. Use that promo code Peanut Gallery. You're going to be all taken care of on the back half. But back to business here. We have a special guest joining us. We have Elijah Swift Smith. How you doing, my man?
Man, I'm doing great. Couldn't feel any better, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I wish it was a little bit warmer, being that it's now, mid-March, and we're kind of hit with the heavy stick from the Groundhog Day out there. That 6 weeks of winter, that was a heavy one this year.
Yeah, it was a crazy one.
Definitely, my man. So why don't you right away let people know where they can follow you, just so they have that information right off the rip?
Yeah, so you guys can follow me on Instagram at ShakurTheBag02, and also on Facebook. My name is Elijah Smith, for those of y'all who don't know. Also, I do have a TikTok account. I have a lot of good content, some funny, and that one's Elijah Smith 18. So really, all these my social media platforms have my name in it, most of them. So that's where you can find me at.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for that information there. Now, you have a big fight coming up here at the end of the month. This is going to be for an amateur title fight in the 135-pound division at Colorado Combat Club 11 on March 25th at the Aurora Stampede. You're going up against another undefeated prospect in Felix Cano. What are your thoughts on the matchup, and how are you seeing things as you approach the fight date? I
see the fight, going my way. Every fight that I've had, I've never stressed about it because I always feel like, I'm prepared. But I want to also thank Felix Cano for, taking the fight. Because what most people don't know is that he actually posted on Instagram, calling me out. So he must have seen something in one of my fights, or he must feel that, he's more than prepared to come out and put on a show. So I appreciate him for reaching out to me when people were turning me down. But as the fight goes, like I said last time, I'm trying to get the fight over with as quick as possible. I feel like I'm miles above these guys. So that's how I feel the fight going, and I'm very excited for that fight to come.
Definitely. And as people, if you were to go and check this man's resume on Tapology, you're going to see a lot of quick finishes out there. The one that did end up going deeper into the fight was, you had to overcome some tremendous adversity in that fight, basically fighting up 2 full weight classes. Why don't you talk about that and how that helped you as far as your mental growth?
That fight right there, I could definitely say that was probably my most sloppiest fight. I feel like I was just in there to, not really, I don't want to say to survive because I knew I was going to win. That's just my mentality. But I was just in there just freelancing a little bit, fighting the 2 weight classes. I obviously didn't have to cut any weight. So I was over there. I didn't eat as good as I used to, or as I should have been. I didn't really take the fight too serious. But, as the fight came, I was like, shit. I was tired. I was dog tired too. So I had to find a way to, scavenge up a win. And when I got that win, I felt like nobody else can beat me. I was like, there's no way that I can go out there and lose to somebody my size when I just went out there and beat somebody who's 2 times bigger than me.
That's fair. And especially in that last matchup that you had up in Greeley, Brito, he's a known striker, or is a striking specialist, and you went out there and outstruck the strikers. So again, how does that help build your confidence at such a young age?
Especially like what you just said, since I'm so young, I know I'm faster than a lot of these guys, and I know I'm stronger than a lot of these guys. And with the help of my dad and the gym and the guys that I'm around, I'm around like a lot of good athletes, a lot of great fighters like Dylan King, Joe Hur, Lonzo Adams, even some guys in the background that you guys don't see, like David Payne, who's a pro boxer. He's been on some big cards in the boxing world. So those type of guys always, keep me sharp, keep my tools sharp. And I feel like when I go out there, it's a breeze. I've already been there before.
Now, you mentioned that you have some, you have a lot of teammates, being that is the case, that a lot of Colorado guys fill up our Colorado cards.
And also, my bad, I don't mean to cut you off, but also somebody like my dad, who's a UFC veteran, been in Bellator, on the Ultimate Fighter twice, those type of tools. So, I'm blessed, to have those type of guys around me, and that's what gives me my confidence.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second, being that you are a second generation fighter in that regard. Now, how has growing up in the gym around your dad, going from promotion to promotion and just seeing things from the Ultimate Fighter to being an RFA world champion, just all of the heights, the pitfalls, the everything that comes along with the fight life as a fighter and now as a coach, how does that help you, or has that maybe added any sort of pressure for you to perform as well?
I would say it doesn't really add any pressure to me coming into the fight game, I knew that, once I start racking up wins, everybody's going to everybody wants to knock out or wants to, beat me, just because of my dad's name. And that's fine, and I understood that. But growing up, I was always in the gym. I started wrestling at 6. My dad was roughly always, been my coach, always been there. And yeah, I mean, it just came smooth. At first, I didn't even want to fight. I wanted to keep playing football. But 2020 was a weird year, as we all know. That's when the pandemic hit. And we was like, what else is going on? And I had just came from wrestling because I went to state. I went to state back to back in my high school when I was in high school, and I had lost that state. And I always had that like little niche, like, I feel like I need to get that lick back. And fighting was the only thing that was open around then, because like I said, the pandemic, and that's what got me into it, or really, made my decision on what I wanted to do.
Now that it's basically 2 years into that crazy time in the world of the pandemic and everything shutting down, are you happy with the decision that you made?
Man, it's crazy how life works. I would have never thought like 2 years ago that I would be fighting, because like I said, I didn't want to do any mixed martial arts. I didn't want to fight. I didn't want to take punches to the face. But I'm more than happy with my decision, just seeing how far I've grown and how much I can, or how far I can go still. Because as everybody knows, I'm still young. I'm only 19 years of age. I turned 20 in September, so I have a long road ahead of me.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, but being that you're so young and you have that second generation skill, if you will, like, I guess there's not really a better way to kind of describe it in that way, in that there's going to be a massive shift, I feel like, as far as the entire field of MMA over the course of the next, 10, 15 years, because in the past, or in your dad's era, that was guys who, maybe you grew up fighting, don't get me wrong, but there wasn't like trained programs, or you had some McDojo karate or taekwondo type of situation or whatever, but there wasn't a full on, like jiu-jitsu academy, or there wasn't programs that you're now seeing with kids like yourself who grew up wrestling, who were able to train their entire life. Like guys like yourself, you just have a level of talent and a caliber of skill that in yesteryear we didn't see from someone at just 19 years old.
Yeah, that's crazy that you say that, because I remember times like when my dad was fighting, he had to either drive up to Castle Rock, which was, 45-minute drive from where we are, to go, train on this jiu-jitsu, or he'll go drive down to Pueblo, Colorado, go train with those guys at the college for his wrestling. And then he'll drive up to, Denver to go train with some guy, get some sparring rounds when he was training with Factory X. So nowadays, my dad, he collected all that knowledge and put it right in his gym. So we don't have to, drive here, drive there. We get everything right where, right at home. So, and I know as the talent, as the year changes, the talent, it's going to keep getting better, especially when when the time is, to turn pro. Who knows? I might turn pro after this one. I haven't fully made the decision yet, but, I just feel like I'm ready for every step and every, challenge that's next for me.
In terms of, obviously there's a tremendous set of skills physically, But I feel like some of the biggest challenges that some fighters, especially those who are on the quote unquote fast track, if you will, some of the biggest adversity or the biggest battles that you're going to face are going to be in between the ears, are going to be some of those mental battles, that voice in your head that's telling you some things. Maybe it's the thought of, okay, well, you know what? I'm now I'm a 2-0, 3-0 pro, and I'm sitting in a position where I might be looking at a Contender Series opportunity or something to where the lights just keep on getting brighter. How does having someone like your dad there who has been through that sort of stage of the game mentally, how does that help you grow with those things that maybe we don't necessarily get to see from the physical standpoint?
Me and my dad, we occasionally, very oftenly, we have our talks late at night, when we get home from training, and we just talk about, we don't really even talk about, the big lights and what's next. We always talk about what's right in front of us. We got to knock down that barrier that's right in front of us. So thinking about the big lights, I guess when we get to that point, we'll have that talk. But I already know that, like, when I get that, when I have this mentality, is like, no opportunity is too big for me. So I'll take it as if it was just any regular fight, Every fight is a big fight, because I can keep winning. But as soon as I lose, I got to rebuild. I got to rebuild that hype train. So every fight is a big fight for me, to keep the train rolling and keep everything going. So that's how
fair. That's fair. And I mean, I feel like that does show overall just in how you carry yourself. You have a confident presence and just kind of you have your own swag about you, I guess. Like that's just the best way to say it without putting a finger on it too much in that way. But I mean, how does that, I guess, because you're also a knack for the performing arts. You're a musician too as well. So just that being said, you're not afraid of being in the spotlight or having the eyes and the ears on you. Do you think that kind of all goes full circle with fighting and being a musician and whatnot?
Definitely. Because, when you're performing a song and it's just you, everybody's looking at you. One person is getting looked at. When you're fighting, everybody's looking at you. It might be 3 people, but everybody, is occasionally looking at you and maybe your opponent and seeing like who's going to get knocked out. So it's all the same thing. I learned that, blocking out the crowd when I was younger. Like I said, I came up wrestling. I was always like the class clown, but, I have like a very like vibey feel, so I'm very chill about everything. But
what's up, coach?
What's going on?
How are you? Great to see you.
Good morning.
But yeah, no, like I said, no opportunity is too big for me. And I when I get into a fight too, especially when I'm walking out, I just get so tunnel vision. Like I don't see the crowd, I don't hear the crowd, I barely even hear my own music. The only thing that I could think of is just getting in the cage, taking 3 deep breaths, and just closing my eyes. And then when I turn around, I'm ready to go. And you'll see, like, a lot of the times, like, when I get into the cage, I do my typical, like, I get down on my knees and then I put my hands on the cage and just shake it out. And I'll look and I don't know. And that when I turn around, I'm like a different fighter. I'm a new person. I'm an animal.
That's understandable. I mean, I feel like that's kind of a common theme from a lot of guys in the fight game, that you kind of have this alter ego or this like second personality, if you will, that as soon as you hit that curtain on the walkout, like you become a different person at that time. You got to. Because
if you don't, man, I mean, there's some guys that come out, you could come out very serious. That's how some guys operate. Some guys come out, they want to dance, they're feeling the vibe. That's all you, but you got to find what fits for you, what brings your confidence up, what gets you in the zone. So for any young fighter that's coming up, that's something that I would say that you got to find, come fight night, what gets you in a comfortable state of mind.
Certainly. Now, as you're getting to these latter stages of camp and just a couple of weeks out from fight night, what is maybe something like, it could be, a little vice like ice cream, or maybe for some people it's sweet potato fries or something like that. Like, what is the hardest thing for you to give up while you're in camp and cutting weight?
The hardest thing for me to give up, I got a lot, man. Probably like a lot of fried food, and it's not because like I said, I'm still young, so like everything is good to me.
You've got the gift of youth on your side, so you can get away with some food.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Like even like, but I would probably say the hardest thing for me to give up would have to be like sweets, like candy and stuff like that. Because I don't know, when you get done like with training, I always feel like I need to go get like a soda or something. I need to go get like a candy bar. Like I need to get some sugar in me. So that's probably one of the hardest things. Early in like when I start cutting weight, I don't really cut out too much salt because I still want to retain a lot of the water. So when I do sweat it out, it just comes out in one. But yeah, I would say like sweets, like soda, candy, stuff like that.
What's your candy of choice?
And I like chocolate. I like chocolate for sure, but Skittles. Skittles is my go-to. I
was just wondering because my radio co-host Josh Fremd, like that is his biggest vice. If there is Skittles anywhere around, even while he's cutting, like sometimes because he doesn't have to cut a ton to get down to 85, but if there's like some Skittles or some Tic Tacs sitting around, like he might be in that portable sun and he'll pop one or two just in the process, just to keep that. Just to not have like almost like that bile taste going, like when you're getting those last couple of pounds.
I also say like, when you're cutting weight too, like it's okay to like cheat, but it depends on how you cheat. You can't sit there and like, if I get hungry, I'll get a plain burger, like just meat, 2 patties and like a bun. And I know that like since the meat is all protein, that's easier to burn off than something that like, filled with carbs. Maybe the bread is a little bit hard, but it's not too much. So, and I'll do that like maybe like earlier in the weight cut. But you can cheat here and there, but just know you got to go to the gym and you got to get that extra weight off, that you just put on.
Oh yeah, certainly. Especially if you're eating some super salty stuff, and depending on where you're at with your water load, salt load, all of that. We just a kind of a crazy story too, that when we were out in Independence, Missouri, I think Independence, Lee Summit, wherever, just one of those like suburbs outside of Kansas City for FAC 12, the last looking for a fight, Dana White's looking for a fight where Josh got signed to the UFC. We go out to eat, or we go to get some food the night before, and he asks specifically for just a plain chicken breast, like not salted, no anything, and just some broccoli, like just to keep it plain. It comes out, and bro, it was almost like they cooked that thing on a salt rock. So yeah, it was lucky for him. He didn't have to worry about too intense of a cut. Otherwise, we might have had some problems.
Yeah, like me, like I was natural. Like I'm naturally a 45er. Like I walk around like 52, somewhere around that. So like in high school, I remember one time like it was regionals, and in wrestling in high school, you have to, for every day that you make it or every day that you win, you have to weigh in like the same morning. So I remember I won. Later on that night, I had like 3 chicken breasts, and I was wrestling at 145. And I woke up that morning, ran a little bit, hopped on the scale, and I was cool. Like my metabolism, I never stress about my weight, and I don't plan on missing weight ever. So
it must be nice, young man. It must be nice to not worry about the weight. I'm just messing with you. As we start to tie some things up here, is there anybody that you want to give a shout out to? Teammates, management, anybody out there, sponsors?
Yeah, definitely. I want to give a shout out to all of my teammates at Victory MMA, the coach, my dad, obviously, my mom, my sisters, definitely my daughter. But I also want to give a shout out to all of my sponsorships like Sheath and Alpha, making for the underwears that they sponsor me, and also the fight shorts that he gives me. So I'm very appreciative of those guys. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Awesome, man. Why don't you let everybody know the details on your fight and where they can follow you one more time? So
the fight is March 25th, and it's crazy. It's on Friday, not Saturday. Remember that. It's at the Stampede Club. Yep. Stampede in Aurora. It's doors open at 6, fight start at 7. Be there or be square. Get tickets from me too if you need any. Awesome. And where can people follow you? you guys can contact me or follow me on Instagram at Shakur the Bago2. Also on Facebook, if you have Facebook, Elijah Smith. And like I said, TikTok, Elijah Smith 18.
Thank you so much for taking the time, my man. We were joined by Elijah Swift-Smith on the MyFitFoods.com hotline. Make sure that you go to MyFitFoods.com, use that promo code Peanut Gallery. You'll be all taken care of there in the checkout. Make sure that you check him out on March 25th at Colorado Combat Club 11 at the Aurora Stampede. I'm Jordan Kurtz with comments from the Peanut Gallery. Make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.
Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. That helps us continue to produce this original MMA content and bring it for you every single week. Tune in to the MMA Plug presented by DenverSportsBetting.com on 98.1 FM, Mile High Sports Radio on Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 p.m.
or live stream at DenverSportsBetting.com/radio.